So we're back with the test your understanding. Again, we're working with algebra. And remember what we said, the first thing we do is we look for our pluses and minuses. We then decide which ones don't count. And this one in the bracket doesn't count because it's in a bracket and that bracket makes it one term. So now I'm going to circle. I go to my minus. Everything in front of that is one term. And over here, this will be the next term. So this expression only has two terms. Now I simplify. I can do nothing with the 5. It's just on its own in a circle. Now remember, this is distribution. So -2, the one outside, must shake hands with everyone inside. So as soon as I'm doing multiplication, I'm going to do signs, numbers, letters, or variables. So negative multiplied by positive is negative. 2 multiplied by 1 is 2, and I have an x. Now the -2 is going to go and shake hands with -3y. So a negative multiplied by a negative is positive. 2 multiplied by 3 is 6, and I just have a y. I inspect my answer. I have 3 terms. 1, 2, 3 terms. None of them are like terms, so that is my answer to that calculation. Right, let's look at number 2. Okay. I have 2 terms there and 2 terms in the second bracket. But if you look carefully at the values in the first bracket, those are both numbers. So what I can do is I can add those 2 together. So if I have 6 minus 4, 6 on my number line, back 4, so I will have 2. So from that bracket I had 2, and I'm left with 2f minus 3g. I didn't need to put that bracket there, but the one outside must shake hands with everyone inside. So it's signs, numbers, letters, or variables. And it's going to be a positive multiplied by a positive is positive. 2 multiplied by 2 is 4, and I just have an f. Now the 2 must be multiplied by the -3g. So positive multiplied by a negative is negative. 2 times 3 is 6, and I have a g. That is an expression with 2 terms. They are not like terms, so that is my final answer. Let's look at the third one. Remember, we go and highlight our negative or positive signs, and then we decide which ones don't count. Well, the ones inside the brackets don't count. So if I look at that, I now have, this is one term, this is another term, so I have 2 terms. And remember, if you have a plus and a bracket or a minus and a bracket, it means that you have a plus invisible 1 or minus invisible 1, which needs to get distributed into the bracket. Right, so let's look at the first bracket. When I multiply, remember there's an invisible multiplication sign there. I do signs, numbers, letters. So positive multiplied by positive is positive. Now I do the numbers. 3 times 5 is 15. And I merely have my a squared. Now I'm going to multiply 3a squared by -a. Remember invisible 1. So if I've got a positive multiplied by a negative, my answer is negative. 3 times 1 is 3. I've got, if you look carefully, I've got a squared multiplied by a. When I multiply powers with the same base, I write down the base, and I'm going to add. So there's 2 there and 1 there, so it's going to be a cubed. I'm done with that term. Now look at the next term, and remember what I said, invisible 1. So -1, we're going to distribute to each of these terms. So let's have a look at the first one. So a negative multiplied by a positive is negative. 1 times 1 is 1, so I've got 1a. This term must be distributed to that last term. A negative multiplied by a positive is negative. 1 times 1 is 1. Right, now I inspect my expression. I've got 4 terms. None of them are like terms because this is a squared, that is a cubed, and that is just a. So in actual fact, that is my answer. And your homework today is on page 82, exercise 6.6.